Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Trader Main. We are back with another live stream. I'm lying to you. This isn't a live stream. We're off to a great start. We're back with another video. It's Monday. The market's pulling back a little. Is this it? Is the pullback over? Is it time to bid? That's what we're going to discuss in this video. So let's get right into it, okay? So as you guys know, Bitcoin has locked in this weekly bearish swing failure pattern. Now, I posted this on Twitter and it got 2,000 likes. And you know, if you post something bearish and it gets a lot of likes, it can't come true. That's how it works. Except for obviously not. We just look at the data. We are data whores. Okay, we look at the data, we consume the data, and we fucking extrapolate the data, and we make decisions based on the data. If I say data one more time, it might lose all meaning. Now, what the data tells us is that generally when Bitcoin has a weekly swing failure pattern, more often than not, there is a reaction. So if you want to see a bunch of people who are like retarded, just go click on that tweet of mine and just go read all the comments, read all the quote retweets. Like, I'm not even saying we're going to go up or down. I don't make any sort of directional judgment. I just say here is some information, and people just lose their shit. And the reason they lose their shit, outside of having like sub room temperature IQ, which would be a struggle naturally, is they don't have any idea what they're doing. They have no plan. They don't know how to actually execute. They don't know how to make any decisions. They don't know how to trade. And so what they're doing is they're making their decisions based on emotion, based on what they read online, and they are so unable to think for themselves that if anything comes out, any information is presented to them that goes against their bias in their head. If they're long, if they see anything bearish, it's just like, does not compute, need to fucking lose my shit. Like, they can't handle it. And if they're fucking bearish and they see some bullish information, it fucking just they cannot comprehend it. Okay. So I'm going to share this data with you, and then I'm going to explain to you how you take information like this and you take the next logical step, which is to interpret that data and then make a plan based on it. Because when we're organized, when we have a plan, when we're prepared for price to go either up or down, it gives us the confidence and the freedom to not freak out when we see someone posting something that we don't like. And it gives us the confidence, most importantly, to execute when the time comes, when price actually comes to our level. So we're going to delete all of our levels here real quick, and I'm going to show you, this is just objective fact here, okay? I don't care that BlackRock's buying, Michael Saylor's buying, Tom Lee's buying ETH. These are just facts. This is what happened in the past. Doesn't mean that it might happen again. It could not, right? So we have a weekly bearish swing failure pattern at the all-time high back in 2021. Price then nuked pretty heavily down, right? Now, we have another weekly swing failure pattern here, which caused price to pump very aggressively. You have another weekly swing failure pattern here. This is another bullish one. Price moved up very aggressively. And then look, we have a bearish weekly swing failure pattern. And then guess what happened? Price pulled back super aggressively. We have a bearish, we have a bearish one right here. Caused price to pull back quite aggressively. We had a bullish one like here, I think. Let me zoom in to see. Was this quite an SFP? Yes. Bullish SFP. It doesn't look like much, but that's a 20% pump, right? Is this an SFP here? What's the low there? That's an SFP right at the bottom. Price pushed higher. Here's another SFP. Price pushed higher. Here's a bearish SFP. Price pulled back. Okay, here is a bullish SFP. This one didn't really give us a reaction, but this one did. Bearish SFP, bullish SFP, right? You kind of get the picture here. Like, more often than not, there's your bottom, there's your top. So this is an example of this is the one I want to point out to in a second. I will. But more often than not, you get a reaction here. Bearish SFPs have caused a pretty big down move, and someone could probably go and calculate the actual distance each one of these causes price to move if they wanted to. But more often than not, these cause our bottoms and tops. Not every time, but more often than not, right? And I think that is all of them for now, okay? Maybe I missed one, but here, very clearly, big fucking reaction. Here, very clearly, big reaction. Here, big reaction. Big reaction, right? Big dump. Pump. Pump. This one got ignored. Pumped. This one got ignored. Pumped. This one dumped. This one pumped. This one got ignored. So out of however many are here, I think I counted it yesterday. It was like 15. Like 13 of the 15 gave a reaction, meaning 2 of them got ignored. So what does that data tell us? At the very least, if we have a bearish swing failure pattern, we should be cautious. It doesn't mean it can't do this. Price 100% can do what we did here, where we have a bearish SFP and then we just pump anyways. It's 100% possible, okay? That being said, we want to know what happened in the past. More often than not, it gives us a reaction. We're getting a bit of a pullback now, but it's still too early to tell. So now, how do we take this information and turn it into something actionable? Well, when I zoom in now, like first of all, the weekly, still bullish. So even though we've had this weekly bearish SFP, the weekly market structure, which to me is more important, is still very much in an uptrend. So we put in a low here, we broke that high, very strong, and we made a fresh high. Price can come all the way back down to here and still go up. It can come below this low. As long as it doesn't close below here on the weekly, still maintaining bullish weekly structure. And keep in mind, price could come from this SFP all the way down to here and then bounce. And guess what? That 15% down move, that is the SFP playing out. It doesn't have to cause a 40% drop. You could argue that we've already got a bit of a drop here, 4%. And if it comes down a little more, 5-6%, that could be the SFP playing out, okay? So how do we action this? We're still bullish on the weekly. High time frame, anything below 110, I want to buy because we're coming into that weekly order block and it's the first retest of weekly support after making a fresh high. Zooming in down to the 12-hour chart here, we're effectively trading within this range. So the levels I have here, right? This is your range low. This is your range high. This level is that weekly candle closure right there. It also happens to look like just a perfect range right here, right? If I just pull the range like this, it almost gives you the exact same levels there, right? There's your EQ. So boom, boom, boom. You throw the 25s on here if you want. We're kind of right at the mid-range of the mid-range, right? So the midpoint between here and here. We also have this kind of demand right here that we're coming into. So as much as we have this weekly SFP, there is support here that we're kind of coming into that is something we can look at as an opportunity to long. Now, because we've had the weekly bearish swing failure pattern, we would go down to the H12 and we'd say, okay, we actually have a bearish structure break right here, right? That's a bearish market structure break. And you could argue we've already retested the breaker here on the underside, right? There's your bearish breaker. So maybe that was a short and we already missed it. Maybe price is going to come up here, right? And then actually sell off. I'm leaning bullish for now. And the reason I'm doing that is because I still think the weekly is bullish and I would like to see higher prices still. Even though we had this SFP, I still think we're mostly just range bound. So there's really 2 ideas, maybe 3 that I like here. Idea number 1 is if this pulls back harder here, okay? I'm going to throw on Monday's range here because it's going to come into play. But we're about to take out Monday's range. But if we pull back decently hard here, to me, the long is some sort of break and reclaim of the range low. That's your long idea number one. Like how it's looking right now, it's looking kind of weak. If we get a decent flush overnight, I think we have Powell speaking tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. But if we get a decent flush overnight, early tomorrow morning, something on the news tomorrow, maybe Powell's like, hey, no cuts, or just says like kind of tempers expectations a little bit. Maybe this is the fill, right? And again, I would bid the fuck out of this too. But this is kind of the idea number one. The idea number two here is quite simply like this is basically the sweet spot of this price leg here. And we've got Monday's range. So if we get some sort of shallower move, like we sell off a little bit lower here and then we reclaim Monday's low, I think that's the long you take, right? So your entry is here, your stop is down here. But those are the two long setups that I'm looking to take because I'm leaning bull biased here. So something like this, right? You could even enter on a reclaim of this kind of 50% level here, or the 75% in this case, but it's the 50 between this and this. Something like that, I think could be your long. Run Monday's low, reclaim there. I like that idea. Ultimately, if we get a larger correction, I'm then looking to long something below here or even into that weekly demand, which starts down here. But either way, I'm looking for longs. What would make me short? The only reason I would short this thing is if we get a bounce here, which I'm expecting. I'm expecting a bounce regardless, even if we pull back, right? We're already down 10% off the high almost. So if we come down another couple points here, like I'm expecting some sort of mean reversion bounce. The only thing that would get me to short, I think, is a move up into this H12 breaker, okay? And then some sort of like failure above one of these highs, right? So if we come like this and then we do this, that would be, I think, a short stop up there or even here if you can muster it and then target down into here. So I don't know what my pen's doing this, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I still think we're range bound. We're into an area that's of interest here, right? I'm not looking to short in the lower part of the range. If we're going to short, I want to short in the upper 1/3 of the range. I want to be looking for longs in the lower 1/3 of the range, and I'm just going to assume the range continues until proven otherwise. What would prove me otherwise? Price trading above here. Now it's no longer a range. Price holding below here. So not just a wick below here, but price holding below here. Then I think we're trading back within this order block. Even though I think this is support, we're clearly no longer in this range here, right? So, flashbang. So that's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin here. We're in a range. We're in the lower part of the range. So ultimately, some sort of long to form here on a break and reclaim of the low. That's what I'm looking for. If we get a bounce into the upper part of the range and we show any weakness because we had that weekly sweep, I will look for opportunities to short, maybe back to the range low, maybe even down to here. We'll see. But I'm assuming it's a range until proven otherwise, okay? That's the main thing I want to cover on Bitcoin here. On ETH, I mentioned this yesterday. I said, listen, I still think ETH is good. I like ETH more than I like any other coin right now. I don't think that this run is over. So looking at ETH, I mentioned, hey, we could long this area, assuming this holds. Bitcoin needs to kind of hold right where it is right now. So if you think Bitcoin's going to hold or it's going to form a bottom pretty soon, we're right at the area of support on ETH that you would want to bid. Maybe we run these lows and then that's what you bid. Right? We get some sort of quick spike down towards like 4K. I would probably bid that, just this fair value gap here. If we get and I would be ready to cut quickly if we don't get a strong reaction almost right away. Otherwise, if Bitcoin's going to pull back below 110K, so another 5+% down, I think it's very likely that ETH trades back into its weekly demand as well. Right? And so if Bitcoin pulls back to its weekly demand, ETH pulls back to its weekly demand, I would rather long ETH targeting all-time high. So I'm looking for reasons to be bullish on Bitcoin. I'm watching on the low time frame here around Monday's range, which we're basically right at right now. Some sort of move and reclaim, I would long ETH. Like if Bitcoin prints the long, I'm longing ETH instead of Bitcoin, okay? Because I think it will outperform. And if Bitcoin pulls back deeper, again, I would look to long ETH at the equivalent level. So those are the main two things I wanted to cover in today's video. I think there'll be more to update tomorrow. But hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed our stream on Friday. As always, all my bullshit in the description of this video. Make sure you fucking check it out. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next one.